What is up, Commer Nation? It's your host, Jay Rube, here today on the Golf Podcast for the first time. What do we call this here, Sam? The Teeing It Up podcast here?
Teeing It Up podcast, yep.
Tee It Up podcast. Nice. So, listen, first time here. I'm really excited to be joined by Sam today. Sam, how's it going? I have some big shoes to fill with Anthony missing yet another week of golf coverage.
Yeah, it's funny that he actually is not on this one. I mean, there'll be less like rambling, but it's funny he's not on this one because this is like it's in Dublin, Ohio. It's like near Columbus. Like it's actually a good tournament. It's like something good that's happening in Ohio for once. So he should have taken this opportunity to actually be proud of his state for once in his life. But yeah, this is a great tournament. This is like one of the best stops on tour. A lot of the top ranked players play in this one, and it's going to be really interesting this year with how much he's made changes. So excited for this one.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised Anthony's not here with it in an Ohio course, and it seems like Tony Finau's in play. So when those two things are happening, you expect Anthony on the pod, you know?
Well, I mean, it's like to even go a step further, like the guys that me and him like love playing, like Finau and Connors and Keegan and like Griot, they're literally all chalk. Like all our favorite guys are like the chalk of the week. So yeah, I'm excited. I think we kind of talked about this pre-pod, but I think it's good to I think it's good that you're not daily, grinding golf like I am, but I think that you, from a game theory perspective, always are interested in that aspect of DFS. So I think it'll be a good one to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll dive into some of the ownership stuff. It's still early in the week, so we're going to monitor that as the week goes on. Obviously, check out our free projections portal over at dfskarma.com to get Sam's latest and greatest projections and ownership stuff. So, Sam, let's just start it off here. Give me a little bit of a course preview here. Like, what are we dealing with? What type of golfers do we want to target? Just really give us a course rundown.
Yeah, so this one, it's been played here a lot of years, but it's funny. People will see it kind of all over the industry. It's in my content a little bit, and so this course is known to be like kind of Jack Nicklaus's like his masterpiece. Like it's one of the best courses in the United States for sure, in the world. And it went through a lot of renovations after last year's tournament, where it's made a little longer. He changed a lot of things up, and so while we can kind of guess and I can make assumptions on kind of how it's going to change, I am just going to kind of go with the theory that it won't be drastically different, where you have to be straight off the tee because the rough is so thick and brutal to get out of. The greens are really fast and really small. And so it's we say it week in and week out that approach is the most important kind of metric in looking at golfers, but this course more than most is even more essential because that's how Nicklaus played and that's how he designs all of his courses. Is it rewards good second shot players and it kills you when you miss the green. So that's like a 50,000 foot level of what I'll be looking at for guys in each tier.
Nice. That's awesome. So just like how you guys do every week on the pod, we're going to go based on tiers here, and we'll try not to jump around like Anthony does. We'll run a clean, well-oiled machine here on this Teeing It Up podcast this week. So let's first look at the high price golfers on the week above 10K. We have some high profile names: Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Rory, Bryson, John Rahm, Jordan Spieth. I mean, did you think that we would see Jordan Spieth as the highest priced golfer at a point this season?
Oh my God. I would say like 6 months ago, Spieth was like not even in this, he was in this tournament, but this is kind of like a quote unquote like invitational. Like he would have been like in the 7s 6 months ago. So it is crazy. Yeah, to see him as the highest price, I question why he is the highest price, but I also get it because no one's been hotter than him over the last 3 or 4 months. But yeah, I mean, as I let off the top, you can see, I mean, even as someone who's not following it week in and week out, I mean, it is a loaded field. Like every one of these guys is worthy of consideration, above in the 10K range. For me, I mean, I have, as especially Anthony knows, and you've learned from my freaking out in Discord, is that I have guys I normally fade on a regular basis and play, but I mean, this week for me, I think might get a lot of traction. I'm all about Justin Thomas. He's way underpriced. His price, I know it seems crazy to say someone's underpriced at 10,200, but him to be the 6th most expensive, and with how he's still the best iron player in the world, I mean, that's like crazy to me. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of like starting, cash teams, single entry teams. I love Justin Thomas, as I think a lot of people will.
Yeah, when you bring up approach players, I mean, a guy that really jumps off the page to me that we're always talking about, just an incredible approach game, is Colin Morikawa. 200 more than Justin Thomas. Do you them heads up? I think that's going to be a tough decision this week. It sounds like you're leaning Justin Thomas here early on this this Tuesday.
Funny enough, last year with the schedule moving around with COVID, there was a tournament played here. Like it was just played here 2 weeks in a row, and in the first week there was a playoff between Morikawa and Justin Thomas. So that tells you how important approach play is. I think that's kind of example A and B, literally. So yeah, it's not that I love Colin Morikawa. Will be in my player pool. I absolutely will have at least field average of him, but I guess my thing is if I'm getting even any sort of discount at all in ownership for Justin Thomas, like I'll take that all day long, just because based on just long term and everything like that. So, but I do love Colin Morikawa. I mean, we won't talk about every guy because that's ridiculous, but I mean, we could talk about all the guys in the 10K range. Rory, I don't know. I put this in my content. Rory is tough because, like a lot of these guys, like if Dustin Johnson was here, he has the ability to literally win at any time, at any course, just whatever. But right now, I just don't see him as in good a form as someone like Morikawa or Spieth or Rahm or any of these guys. So I'm not really on Rory. He will be alone. Bryson has won here, but I don't know. I'm not paying 10,900 for Bryson when I like a lot of guys below him. And then
Bryson was going to be a guy I wanted to ask you about because, traditionally we like Bryson on longer courses. Is this not one where we want to target him?
No, it's okay. So it sounds silly for me to say no because he did win here 2 or 3 years ago. But I just, with his distance, which is crazy, and like obviously it's always an advantage. And a couple courses it's worked like this, a couple it's not. But his accuracy is not, it's not equal to the distance he has. So the rough here, like it's really, I'm not saying it's intense, US Open impossible, but when you miss, like you're not, sticking it to 6 feet from that rough. Like you're just trying to hack it out and like get it and save par. And Bryson, like it just, not the distance doesn't help him, but it's just not as effective as a course where he can just go bombs away and hit it 400 yards and then have like 50, just not like that kind of course. So I don't know. I just don't think the rest of his game is as fine tuned. And that's why I would rather pay $200 more for Rahm or drop down to Morikawa or Thomas, something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Personally, anytime that I see John Rahm and Bryson next to each other, just based on the way that I've played DFS golf in the past, and I know that you and Anthony play, I'm going to take John Rahm over Bryson any day of the week, especially on a course where you say you have to hit it pretty straight off the tee, and we know Bryson's just going out there hitting it as far as he can, not as straight as he can.
Yeah. And we've talked about it on this pod for a while that it's funny where John Rahm is like not won in a while. And so the perception's like he's kind of like, not been dominating, but he comes top 10 like literally every single week. He just hasn't won. So it's like he's still crushing. He just is not, lighting the world on fire with wins. So yeah, I love Rahm, every tournament, but that's everyone else does too.
All right, cool. If you just want to touch on Spieth, what you're going to do with him, if he's a full fade, or what you're going to do with him in your player pool, and then we can move on to the next tier.
Yeah, Spieth, it's like, I don't know. His history here is weird. He literally has missed the cut a couple times, and then he's come like top 10 like 3 other times. So Spieth, it's weird. Last week was a little concerning because, like I was just mentioning with Bryson, you have to hit it in the fairway. And Spieth has been on fire in every aspect and every part of his game except for the driver. It's never really been his strong suit. So I like him from the perspective of people always seem to shy away from the highest priced guy. And there's always perception, he came in second, he's exhausted from all that. It's like, that's the dumbest thing ever. So I think Spieth is a great play, but I would not is kind of a cop-out answer, but I would not prioritize him over someone like Justin Thomas or Morikawa or Rahm. But I do like him for the leverage aspect.
No, that's fine. You know, I can't come on here and without giving some picks. So if I was going to spend up here in this 10K range, I personally would be going probably a guy like Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, or John Rahm, and really avoiding Spieth as the highest price guy. Bryson, who we already picked apart his game a little bit on this course. And then, you know, I'm not really excited about the way Rory's playing right now either.
Yeah, but you're a great example, actually. So like people in you know in our Discord know, and I know it's like, you know, you're a big like one lineup, you know, team one lineup guy, which is great in this aspect. It's like if I'm playing one lineup, you know, I'm not playing Bryson. You know, I mean, again, he won't be if you're playing the $200 single entry. Okay, he won't be owned, but like if I'm there, like I'm going either Morikawa or Justin Thomas all day. If I'm playing one line, now if I'm playing 20, yeah, you can throw him in there and be overweight the field with 3 lineups, but it matters how many you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As everyone knows in our Discord, I am one of those one lineup guys, you know, all in, ride or die, boom or bust. So, all right, let's break down a next tier here. Let's go from 8K and above. Is that too large of a tier here? Do we want to go like 8.5 and above, or you want to go 8
with a loaded field like that? I'm good with
cool.
that. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. We'll go 8K and above here. But let's just pick apart this range. Who is the guy that really stands out to you as being underpriced that you want to maybe prioritize in a cash games that you think might be popular? I see Tony Finau is in here, so I'm going to do Anthony the honors of mentioning him first.
Yep. Right. That would make complete sense. So the thing about Finau, we said it's like a broken record when you talk about Finau because this applies so many places. He does fit this course really well. He played last year. I was glad he kind of faltered last year because it was him versus Rahm, and I had Rahm to win, so I was glad about that when Rahm did win. But Finau, he does fit it. I get it. I do like him this week, but unfortunately, I'm not alone in that. I mean, I rarely play Finau as much as like Anthony does, but I don't know. He's going to be 25% owned. And that's for me is my thing. I always tell anyone in Discord, I put this in our final thoughts, everything. If anyone is going to be 20 to 25% owned in a tournament, that's always viable for a fade just based on just game theory. But my favorite play in this kind of range, I guess in the 9, I guess I have 2 guys I think are really underpriced. First being Hideki. I wrote this in my article you can check out on our site. And where he's priced on DK and, you know, where he's priced in the Vegas odds just makes no sense to me. Like, I don't really get it. You know, people are so enamored with Xander Schauffele and Hovland, and I get it, but like Hideki just won the Masters. Okay. And he's like one of the better iron players in the world. He has won this tournament before. Like, I just don't really understand like that. And it's like, okay, he was rusty, then he comes back and he plays fine in 2 tournaments. So his price makes no sense to me. I like him a lot in all formats. I like Corey Connors like I do every week, but he's becoming a trendy name that's not really off the beaten path. But
I was going to say, did you ever think that you'd see Corey Connors priced 100 above Tony Finau this year when earlier in the year you were playing him at like 6K?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny because Connors used to be like the cheap value guy that everyone played. But now that he's played so well for so many weeks and months in a row now, he's appropriately priced. As weird as it sounds, like saying that a year ago, I'd be like, that's a little much. But yeah, the only thing with Corey Connors is, I mean, if he gets too high, there's always reason to fade because his short game sucks. So like, he can always completely blow up in that sense. But he's just playing hot right now. I almost wish Anthony was here to fight me on this one because he tries to play Xander despite us both not liking him. Xander's going to be once again mega popular. I get it. Hovland, mega popular. He's super good. But I think for me, it's Hideki and Connors in the 9K range. And then I always play Patrick Reed because since people hate him, he just doesn't get owned, which is fun. He's completely hateable. But
do you think that's a real thing here in DFS golf? Is that just because he's an unlikable guy, he just has no ownership?
He'll get, if you look at, I think it's a good thing. I've tried to tell this to people. I've never put it in content, like because I'm not the first one to think this, but yeah, I mean, if you look at Patrick Reed, like, yeah, after he wins or something, he might get priced down, but if he literally misses one cut, he'll just go immediately back to like 40-1 to win. Meanwhile, like every week you have like Xander Schauffele, who hasn't won in at least like a couple years, and he's won like no cut events and always chokes, and he'll like be 16 to 1. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Like that's what I was thinking about Hideki. Hideki's 30 to 1 to win this tournament, and Xander's 16 to 1. That's ridiculous to me. So like Finau, I mean, I always troll Finau. Finau doesn't win, but he's always 15 to 20 to 1. That's just silly. So I think it factors in just because people want him to lose. It's like Brooks. Like I hate Brooks, and he's not play owned because people hate him.
Yeah, to me, just looking at some early ownership stuff, I mean, Finau does look like he's going to be incredibly popular. Do you think that Hovland gets up there in
Absolutely.
ownership? He's been a trendy name in
guess,
DFS. He's been really trendy
yep.
from what I've seen.
Yep, because he makes so many birdies, and he scores so many DK points. If I had to put kind of a guess in like the top, maybe the top three of the top 5 owned on the week, I would say Finau, Cantlay, and Hovland will probably be 3 of the highest owned. So I would probably not start my GPP team with those 3, but that's just me at least. I think moving down, because I was kind of trying to break up into 9 and 8 on my favorites. I really like Shane Lowry. He's getting a little popular. He's just really good around the greens. Like I said, with a hard course like this, guys are the best in the world. They're going to miss the green. That's just what's going to happen. You have to be able to scramble and make par. So that's why I like Shane Lowry a lot. This is the first time hosting this pod, and this is a good lesson for you. When Keegan Bradley is mega chalk, it is like the easiest fade of all time. And that's what's happening this week.
You took my glory here. You took it. I was just about to say that Keegan Bradley looks like he's getting some ownership, and we were about to get in a game theory conversation about Keegan at chalk and what you're going to do about that. So you beat me to the punch here.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm good to know that. It's good to know that even people who aren't grinding week in and week out are still aware of Keegan Bradley conundrum because it's real. So what I kind of learned this a little bit from Anthony, but we both agree that I think Keegan Bradley is a great example where. So personally, like I bet him earlier. I mean, that's now lost because other people bet him. That's no way that wins. But if Keegan is going to be mega chalk, I have no problem playing him in cash because I do like him as a good play. And I could see him, in a $25, $50 double up being 30 to 40% owned. But for me, that's like the easiest fade in tournaments ever because Keegan, again, sucks at putting in general. But it's more than that. It's like the guys around him have just such similar upside. I mean, it's tough when you have a guy like in these ranges. Okay, if you're comparing Keegan to some Joe Schmo at 6,000, that's different. But like Keegan Bradley and Billy Horschel and Sungjae Im and Ricky Fowler, maybe not Ricky right now, but good Ricky Fowler, all have probably the same odds to win this tournament. But if one of them is going to be a third less owned, that's the easy pivot. And that's why I like Billy Horschel, who also no one ever plays.
Yeah, absolutely. My question in this low 8s range is like comparing a guy like Keegan Bradley to a Charlie Hoffman. That feels like the perfect like GPP versus cash game conversation in this range where Hoffman is probably a more consistent player than Keegan Bradley. Just, looking at some of the recent form stuff, Keegan can obviously top 5 this course. But Hoffman probably puts out more top 20s over, 100 rounds here than Keegan would.
Yeah, I agree. It's not even and I agree with that because I think Hoffman is way less likely. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Hoffman will get chalk E, but I'm kind of coming off it a little bit because I feel like people are going to see the price tag on a guy like Charlie Hoffman and be like, why is Charlie Hoffman more expensive than major winner Adam Scott? Or, why is he more expensive than these other guys? So I think he'll be popular, but yeah, I mean, Charlie Hoffman is not going to, have 40 putts on a round like Keegan is very capable of doing. So I agree with that aspect. I think this is kind of a range where it's won or lost. I mean, take a shot on someone like Adam Scott, who, is not in great form, but is one of the best ball strikers in the world when he's on. Ricky Fowler, I will play, even though it's a terrible play because I like him. It's easy, I think, to pivot from guys like that, but I don't want to get too low and pull up Anthony and get off track. But I think in this range, most guys, Keegan's price are a little above. I think you can get the equal upside for way less ownership with almost anyone that's kind of near him, in my opinion.
Gotcha. I think we covered this range really well. Anything you want to put a bow on it? Just this. I mean, we kind of went 9 to 10 and then 8 to 9 here. Anything in those two ranges that you just want to put a bow on here? Maybe, flag plant a play here, and then I'll flag plant my own here.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned I like weirdly. I never play him, but I like Billy Horschel this week for some reason. He is never gonna like pop off on the stats, page and everything, but he's come top 15 at this course 3 years in a row, which I didn't even realize. And he just has a great short game. So as long as he's not, spraying the ball off the tee, I think he's a really kind of sneaky play that won't get over. That is $100 more than Keegan and will probably be a third of the ownership. So that's who I kind of like as my tournament play.
Nice. I think that's fantastic. More of the single entry cash game approach here for me. I'm gonna stick out. I'm gonna play the guy who kind of stood out to me here in Charlie Hoffman, just for that potential top 20 here. As a cash game grinder, he's the type of player that I really like to have in my lineups. Just consistent results over a long period of time. Give me Charlie Hoffman this week.
I can sweeten the deal for you in that I said how approach is so important, and in this field, he's ranked number 1 in approach over the last.
Well, there we go. There we go. It all lines up. See, you don't need to know golf to be successful, guys. Look at this. You line up the stats. You use Sam's projections and ownership, and just print. That's how it's done. All right, so we'll move down here. The 7K to 8K range here. A lot of the times I feel like every week in DFS golf, this is where this range right here, and even a little bit cheaper, is where lineups are won and lost. Everyone knows about the high price guys in great form, with all the amazing stats, but this is where GPPs and cash games are won and lost. So give me a little breakdown here below 8K, some guys that you're targeting. Initially, it really jumps off the page that there are some really good, there's some really chalky plays in this under 8K range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a normal week where you have, say you're going from 7,900 to 7,000. There's like the 3 to 4 plays that everyone is congregating on this week. That's going to be Gary Woodland, who I like, Emiliano Grillo, Kevin Streelman, Matt Wallace. These guys, all in that mid 7K range. And yeah, I like all those guys. Everyone does. They rate out well. I think all of them are probably fine for cash. But like I mentioned at the top with Keegan, I mean, if Emiliano Grillo is going to be 20% owned, that literally is the easiest fade of all time. He might be the shittiest putter on tour, and I like him. He's such a good ball striker, but why would I play a chalky Grillo who has the ability to shoot 65, 75, miss the cut, when I could play, go at his exact price at Jason Day and lose money with him, or just go a couple $100 and play someone like Adam Scott at 4% owned, or drop down to Charles Schwartzel for 6% ownership. I mean, it's that's the kind of thing that is, Streelman is a good example where Anthony and I love Kevin Streelman, and he's so consistent. He's having a great year, but the way I try to think about ownership in this range is when you're comparing someone's top 20 odds, their ownership, are you telling me that at 20% owned, Kevin Streelman is 4 times as likely to finish top 20 as any of these other guys? No, at all. That's ridiculous. So I think in tournaments, really important to, not fade all of the chalk, because that's silly, but look at these guys and then look right near them and try to figure out, okay, I like this guy a lot. Maybe I'll play him in a less chalkier lineup, but then I like these other guys around him that have similar upside that it can make me differentiate in a large field GPP.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important just when we're looking at ownership, and we need to look at cumulative ownership for our entire lineup. So it may be better to play a Kevin Streelman if you are playing guys like Tony Finau and, a Justin Thomas and a Morikawa in a lineup where your cumulative ownership will be higher. You want to get off that Streelman chalk. You know what I mean? So just looking at the overall construction of your lineup is really, really important. If you're going to play a Bryson, who might be the lowest owned guy in that 10K range, go ahead, play a safer guy in Kevin Streelman, and Bryson might have that upside to carry you, the rest of the way.
Yeah, it's such an important. I mean, I talk about it in my football content all the time. I think it's more utilized in that space where, I've read, there's a lot of other, better, smarter guys been in the industry longer than me, and a couple of the guys that I like, it's you want to target, give or take, depends on the field, depends on the whatever it is, you want to be in that 80 to maybe a max, absolute max, like 100%, total ownership, meaning like what that means. But for anyone who does it, it's like you add up the projected ownership of your 6 guys, you want to be in that range. And so it sounds, obvious, but like, yeah, there's literally, if I go down the list and make my team of Streelman, Griot, Xander, Finau, it's like, okay, I have now 0 leverage on the field at all. So I have no chance of winning at all. Like me and you always talk about where a lot of these people's lineups are just dead before the tournaments even started or before the slates even started.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, but I think it's important that we always mention, I try to tell these people on Discord all the time, getting different, especially in golf, does not mean playing 6 3% owned guys.
I was just about to say, you took the words out of my mouth, Sam. Being contrarian does not give you a hall pass to be an idiot. That's what I always say.
Put that on my tombstone. Yeah. I mean, it's so accurate. I mean, because people just don't get, I mean, it's like, if you just don't start your lineup with the 4 chalkiest guys, start up with the 3 chalkiest guys, and then play a guy. But you're not playing someone completely random who's going to miss the cut, but you're just playing a guy that's a little less owned. I mean, I think one of the biggest, this applies to a lot of DFS sports, but golf especially a little less now. But people are just so burned by guys, and they just will not go back to them. It's like, oh my god, that guy completely screwed my best lineup. For me, like last week, I had an absolutely rocket team that Joel Dahman just destroyed. I mean, he looked horrible, and then now he's going to be 1.2% on this week. So, I'm not saying to play him in particular, but that's a good example of guys that completely crushed you. You want to go back and then kind of have a good orchestrated team. I have obviously, like I always do, gotten a little off track. I think guys in this range I like, besides the chalk, I like Charles Schwartzel. He's playing a lot better. People never play him. He's kind of a little bit older. I love, Rube, you can write this one down. I love Aaron Wise, $7,000 this week.
All right.
Great off the tee, terrible putter. My exact guy I love to play. Terrible putter, great off the tee. I like him a lot. I mean, a lot of these guys, I think, Jason Day is the worst. I always play him, and he always misses the cut. And he, for some reason, sucks this tournament. But, like, Jason Day is probably better than most guys around him at this price. And he's probably going to be one of the lowest owned guys, in my opinion. So, play Milan Griot at 17% ownership, or you could play Jason Day, who's a major winner, and Players Champion at 4% ownership. Think about
All right, I have to do it. I have to be Anthony. I have to try to fill the shoes somehow of our founder and owner, Anthony here. What about Cameron Tringali here, a guy that you guys have been on all season long, and I know you guys love to play. I know Anthony would be bringing him up right here during this portion of the podcast. So give me your thoughts on him, and what does ownership look like it's going to be on him? It looks like it's middling, not something that you're like actively looking to avoid.
No, I think he'll be probably like 8 to 12, 8 to 10% own range. It's weird with him because, he's having a great season. I mean, he played here last year and missed the cut, and he's had a couple missed cuts recently. It's weird because a lot of times you look at course history, like he hasn't played here, and like he played here last year, and before that he hadn't played in 5 years. He's played different players, so his stats are good. He's a good scrambler. He's like, he can get up and down. I just feel like, over the last couple tournaments, he's kind of cooled off a little bit. He torched Anthony and a lot of others, which I was lucky to avoid that at the PGA Championship, but he's been weird. He was a little consistent, but now he's missed 3 cuts in his last 5 starts. He played last week and was fine. He finished like 32nd or something. So I don't mind him at all. I'm talking about off him, but I think that I just prefer probably guys around him a little more. And if he's going to be not chalk, but almost mid chalk, then I'm fine kind of just playing someone a little higher owned who I think is a little safer than he is right now.
Man, it's always so funny coming from, a football and NBA and MLB guy to hear you call a guy, kind of chalk at 8 to 12%, because that is a little bit chalky
Oh,
here in golf. It's a highly
oh,
variant sport. And if someone's going to be 12% owned, I mean, you have to really consider getting off of them. And, 1/10 of the lineups are dead if you don't think they're a very good play
oh,
that
yeah.
week.
Yeah, dude, there's no like NBA where the guy gets ruled out 8 seconds before the lineup, and then it's like this one guy's the starting and he's 92% owned in cash. Like,
Yeah, it's just so
yeah,
different.
where it's,
And that just goes back to
um,
where we talk about, you said before how, a guy burns people like Tringali did at a major. And, that's when a
mhm.
lot of people, are playing DFS golf. I mean, me personally, I play a lot of the majors with the help of Sam and Anthony's content. And maybe that does keep his ownership down, where he might be in a better spot this week than he has been over the past 5-6 weeks. And just that perception, will plummet his ownership.
Oh, totally. And like, I think it's easy to forget, a couple guys, they probably haven't played since the PGA Championship. That course was a brute. Like, it is so difficult. Tringali, a good example, is not to be too nerdy. Like, I love when Adam Levitan's team watched the tape. But if you look, like, Tringali had basically a disastrous, like, 4 holes. Like, that was his tournament. Like, he played really good 32 holes of golf, and then on 4 holes was like 15 over. So,
Yeah, I
like,
do remember
that
that
was,
now. Yep.
yeah, it's like bizarre, but like, so it's not like he had a bad term. He had bad 4 holes. So that's why I would try to remember things like that. So, um, that range, I mean, this range is a weird one. I'm not targeting a ton of guys in the lower. I mean, Matt Kuchar, I think, is interesting because he has good history here. He's won here. I mentioned Schwartzel and Wise. I mean, the chalk is fine. One guy I always play, I mentioned at the top, I mean, I play Adam Scott all the time, which I should not because he's just not the same player, but it's just weird. He's like such a ball striking machine. He gets on, stays on, but I don't know. We can kind of move down to the sub 7K range where there's a couple super chalk plays, but
Nice. So if you had to play one guy from this 7K range, I think you said it before, but you really, really like, you said Aaron Wise, right? As, your GPP play
yeah,
of the week
it's
here
like a
at
low
7K.
owned, yeah, like a 5, he'll be like 3 to 5% owned. I think he has like, trust me, he has plenty of downside, but like, again, in tournaments, like I'm not playing for the floor, so I like Aaron Wise. I mean, if I was to mention a second guy up there, I mean, I do like Gary Woodland. Like, he'll be owned. He's not gonna be like mega chalk 30%, but I do like Gary Woodland a lot. He's been playing well. He's played well here a lot, so he'd be my pick kind of on the upper 7K range.
All right, perfect. So let's move down into this sub 7K range. And every single time I make a golf lineup, and I send it to Sam, I ask his thoughts on it, and he goes, too many guys in the 6K range. I feel like every single time that's always how I want to build, is like punt off 2 spots, try to get in all these guys of names I know, and I know are going to perform well that week. Who are the 6K guys this week? Because I think it's really important to nail those. Who are you targeting in this below 7K range? Help me make my lineup this week, Sam, because I love
So
playing guys in this range.
I will say, I mean, the chalk of the week is so a guy that's on like in the mid 7s and 8s, Kyle Stanley. He was added late to the field, and like DraftKings went like full FanDuel and added him to the player pool, but made him like almost the min. So like, although I'm always a proponent of avoiding all cheap chalk, like Kyle Stanley is like $6,100. He should probably be like 7,800. So like, just play him in cash. He's gonna be insanely popular, but then you can just play everyone. It's funny that at the same price, 6,100, also late out of the field is Russell Knox, who I got burned by last week. He's going to be a third of the ownership and probably has the exact same upside as Kyle Stanley. Both great approach players, both garbage putters. So that's interesting. My favorite play in this range, I don't know why I've been playing this guy so much. I think I've been riding hot, so I don't want to ride. Troy Merritt at $6,900. He's going to be like 5 or 6% owned. This guy has 3 top 10s in his last 4 starts. I don't know what he's been drinking, but it's working. He ranks like top 20 in bogey avoidance, top 20 on par 4 range, birdie or better, scrambling, putting. Like, he just he's been playing really well. He has like mixed history here, but 6,900, you just want a guy to make the cut. I mean, I think we're not going to go over every guy in this range because most of them, are below. But the reason I don't play 2 6K guys because the main thing in golf to almost a lot of weeks guaranteed cash is getting that 6 of 6 through the cut, which is so hard. It's like 5% of people get that through a week. And when you're playing 2 6K guys, like golf is so volatile, so it's not like the 10K guys are guaranteed a cut. But when you play like 2 subs down here just to load the top of your lineup, okay, great. The top 4 guys all made the cut, but now you have 2 guys who shot plus 80, and now like you have a 4 to 6. So it's just not when you're kind of getting at, you're kind of, it's almost like a parlay, right? Of trying to guys make the cut, like make the cut odds and parlaying it together to see what the odds they all make it on the same lineup. So those are honestly like the 3 guys I like. I don't mind Adam Hadwin, but with kind of a stronger field, I'm not saying it's a major field, but a stronger field like this, it's like the pricing gets a little softer. I just don't think there's a need, at least for me, to be diving down this kind of mid 6K range, really. This is where Anthony Norton brings up someone random. He's like, not in the tournament. But yeah, I don't really see a ton of guys. And besides just, Kyle Stanley, I'll just play because that's a ridiculous price. But
yeah, I was going to ask, is this week a little bit different just because you have this really strong 6.1K play in Kyle Stanley that you might go because he's like, I don't know, is he like a free square? Like how good of a play is he here at 6.1K?
Yeah. He's kind of, I mean, Kyle Stanley is like kind of a troll in which he is such a bad putter as like most of the guys we play. So he's a horrible putter and he'll like putt himself out of it. But he like last week, he led the field in approach play. In this tournament, for instance, he missed the cut. He's missed his last 2 cuts at Muirfield, but then the previous 4, he had a 2nd, 6th, and 3rd. So he is good at this course. He's come runner up actually to Bryson. He's made, his current form, he's made, I think, the last 5 of 7 cuts. Like he finished top 10 last week. So he just isn't like that price just doesn't make any sense. But it's just one of those things where I'll probably play him I will play him in cash. But I will not play him like single entry because it's not like he can't miss the cut, but it won't burn you in cash when he's 50% owned. So that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, that kind of feels like the story here with DFS golf is that anytime that you have these really, really chalky, cheap guys, it makes so much sense to just completely move off them in tournaments. And, you're going to be profitable long-term with that strategy. Like you said, it's so volatile. Like just, you need to look at things from a macro perspective, just long-term. You want to be off plays like Kyle Stanley most of the time here.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because it's also funny he's missing because Anthony loves Kyle Stanley. But that's why it's like a good example where they mess with the pricing of the same guy like Russell Knox, and Russell Knox will be like 5% owned, but he's the same thing where he is like not. He normally is like in the mid 7s. So those are 2 guys I'll play. I'll play Adam Hadwin just because I like to lose money, but mainly those 2 at 6,100 and Troy Merritt are like honestly the only guys I'm really looking at as of right now. But that could change for my final thoughts, and that's posted tomorrow.
Yeah, of course. As always, check out Sam and Anthony's golf content. I mean, I know that they've been grinding, crushing it all year long. I don't know if you guys normally do this, but Sam, I'm going to make you do it. Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You got to give us a winner. Who wins this tournament this week? You can find all of Sam and Anthony's bets over at betkarma.com and in our Bet Karma Discord. Make sure you join there. Completely free to join both our DFS and our Bet Karma Discord channels. But go ahead, Sam, give me your winner this week.
So what we normally do is like we'll give a winner that's not like, not John Rahm or Rory or something like a not, top 5 odds. I'll go with Shane Lowry. He's been hitting it really well, and he's won at a Coeur d'Alene course that I like, Firestone and Akron. And I like him here. He just has been putting like shit. And so if he can just turn like that's such a quick fix sometimes for some guys. So I like the idea if he can get the putter working, he's definitely will have to win. I bet him at 55-1 yesterday morning. So I like him at anything above 40.
Nice. That's awesome. Any of the higher price guys, maybe, shorter odds to win that you like this week as an outright bet?
Yeah, so sometimes what I do with I learned this from the very knowledgeable and hardworking Pat Mayo is some of these guys were depending on their tee time. So like I want to bet either Justin Thomas or Morikawa. But what I'm probably going to do is his odds are kind of, so low. I mean, I'm not betting Justin Thomas at 14-1 really. But what I'll kind of probably try to do is either I'll panic and just bet that, or is you kind of want to wait, because if guys are teeing off in the afternoon, you'll get automatic drift, and they haven't even teed off yet. But some guys shot like 65, and despite him not having teed off yet, his odds will have drifted from 14 to 22, and that's what I like to kind of look at. So if I was going to bet a guy up here, if I can get a right number, I would bet Justin Thomas, but that's probably the only guy I'll go and trying to construct my card. Yeah.
So for me, I think I'm going to make one bet this week. I feel like I have to now that I've done this podcast with you, and it is going to be on the man, the myth, the legend, Tony Finau. This is the week, Sam. This is the week that Chalk Tony Finau gets it done, and you'll be underway in tournaments, and you're going to be in Discord cursing on Sunday afternoon.
Yep. I can see all of that happening. Literally all of that scenario I can see playing out. Yeah.
Just so par for the course that Finau wins this week as Chalk.
I could see it. No, if he finally pulls one out, good for him. I will be happy for him, but we've seen this dance quite a few times.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Anthony's going to go ahead and listen to this pod over, sometime over the next couple of days. And when he hears me tout Tony Finau, he's going to go ahead and put a bet in for sure.
Absolutely. I'm sure he's already put a massive bet on Finau.
Oh,
he always does.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for sticking with me here on my first Teeing It Up podcast here with Sam. Hopefully it's not a regular occurrence. Hopefully we get Anthony back next week. He might be on vacation somewhere, on an island, living the CEO life. But as always, thank you guys. Go check out all of our content at DFS and betkarma.com. Sam, thank you very much for having me on here. Good luck this week, everybody.